When the nation's founders drafted the Constitution in 1787, they made no mention of women. At the time, women were excluded from political and, in many ways, public life. Enslaved women were excluded entirely. White women were considered under the authority of their husbands or fathers. They could not own property, make contracts, go to court, control money they earned, or vote. In 1868, a proposal for a constitutional amendment extending the right to vote, regardless of race, color, or sex, was introduced in the House. Congress never voted on it. Efforts to extend suffrage to women continued in every session until 1919, when Congress passed a proposed amendment and sent it to the states for ratification. The 19th Amendment was not easily won. Women suffragists encountered resistance from both women and men. For more than 70 years, a large and diverse group of suffragists used a wide variety of strategies to win voting rights for women. Some focused on amending the U.S. Constitution, while others worked to change state election laws. Women participated in boycotts, petitioned, and fundraised. They wrote articles, gave speeches, organized marches, and were sometimes imprisoned for their protests. In 1870, the 15th Amendment was passed. It extended voting without regard to race, color, or previous condition of servitude, but excluded gender. Women flooded Congress with petitions for, and in some cases against, women's suffrage. Women's suffragists came from a broad spectrum of race, ethnicity, and class. Working-class women used their experience as labor organizers to effectively agitate for the vote. Women of color, especially Black women, played an essential role in lobbying for the vote at the national, state, and local levels. Fighting against racism both outside and within the suffrage movement, women of color persisted in their quest for enfranchisement. After decades of struggle, women won the political support necessary for ratification of the 19th Amendment. After Congress passed the amendment, 3/4 of the states, 36 states at that time, had to ratify the 19th Amendment before it could be added to the Constitution. By the end of March 1920, only one more state was needed. On August 18, 1920, after calling a special session of the state legislature, Tennessee became the 36th state to ratify, and the 19th Amendment became part of the Constitution. The Constitution leaves voting eligibility requirements up to the states. Who can vote and what they can vote on has varied from state to state over time. Before the 19th Amendment's ratification, 15 states had already granted women at least some voting rights. But because the states decide voter qualification, millions of women remained unable to vote for reasons other than sex even after 1920. Puerto Rican women were excluded from the 19th Amendment, and in 1935, all adult women finally gained the vote. Puerto Ricans today still lack equal voting rights with most other U.S. citizens. You cannot vote if you are not a citizen, and this limited voting rights for many Native Americans and Asian immigrant women. All Native Americans were granted U.S. citizenship in 1924. Asian immigrants couldn't become citizens until 1952. African American voters, especially in the South, faced discriminatory measures meant to keep them from the polls until most of those practices were outlawed by the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Many Latin American and other immigrant or indigenous citizens faced language barriers to voting that would not be addressed until the Voting Rights Act of 1975. In the 100 years since the ratification of the 19th Amendment, voting rights have been expanded to millions more women.